Okay, so in this situation, black to move. Okay, we can see that this is mate in 1. When this rook at d8 captures the rook at d1, this will be a check to the king. There are two positions for the king to move, which both of them are blocked by, will be blocked by the black rook. So that would be a checkmate. So today we'll be solving puzzles. Let's see how many can we solve. Okay, so there's black to move again. We can see that at this position the king do not have good squares to move, because both of them will be blocked in case of a back rank. Back rank is something when you put your rook or a queen on the last rank, and that gives a check to the king, and there's no way out for the king to move. So in this situation king cannot come up because all these pawns are blocking it. And in this situation you can see that this rook is attacking the queen, and the here's black to move. So we let's calculate. If this captures, queen captures rook, obviously rook will capture back, then again rook will capture here, and now queen have to capture, and then this rook at d8 will capture this rook, and finally this will be a back rank for the white king. Take, okay, rook takes, and finally this rook takes the king, and that would be a mate. Okay, now white to move. So we can see that queen has just moved to d4, and it's making a battery with this bishop. So in this situation what we can see that first of all the queen has moved to this position, and white can simply capture this queen. What we are looking at, is there any other good moves, because I cannot see any other checks happening to the black's king. So this has to be the best move. Yes, this is the best move in this situation. Okay, well, let's carry on. Okay, so black rook has moved from a1 to h1. Now white has to move. So we can see that this white king has captured, or is just blocking both the way for the king to move. And if we can manage to give a check to this king and block these three places, these four places, then the king would be mated. We can see that we have our rook here that can move to a8 and can give a check, which will block these two positions of course, and these two will be blocked by the king, and that would be a mate. So this is mate in 1 again. All right, we did it fine. So this is another puzzle. In this situation, white to move. Okay, white to move. And what happened previously, that the black rook from a5 captured this bishop, which seemed to be free at that moment at c5. And after capturing this, but he forgot that the king do not have a space to move upward, and this could lead to a case of back rank. While here in this puzzle we can simply capture from d1 to d8, and this rook will fall. The king won't have any space to move. To avoid the back rank, the only possible way for black is to come in between and sacrifice his queen, but that would also not stop the checkmate, because the white rook will soon capture the black queen, and then it would be a back rank checkmate. Let's see, we first capture it here, and then queen moves, and then we take the queen, and that would be a mate. So these are the basic puzzles that seems to come regularly while playing matches. And if we get through these puzzles one by one by calculating, we'll obviously get better and better at chess. Let's solve another one. Okay, what is black has done? Black has just taken a pawn at h5, and what it has done, that simply this king is taking away three major movement spaces of the black. And now if we manage to give a first we look at the black king, what is the black king can do in case of a check. These three spots all are captured by this white king. Now The black has two spaces to move in case of a check. This one means h6 and h4. Now if we manage to give a check to the black king such that these two places are also blocked, while black king would be mated. So how can we do that? We have a rook at a2. If we can put this to h2 and give a check here, these two positions will also be blocked. We can see that these three positions are blocked by our white king, and hence that would be a mate in 1. There we go, it's mate in 1. Let's solve another one. Okay, so just now what has done, white has just captured a free looking bishop at e2. Now white missed this, and that this can also lead to a back rank. Now again the same concept is being applied here, that the white king cannot move upwards. Also, in case that the this rook can come in between, but in this case if black rook at d7 come down and gives a check from d1, there's no way out to save the king, because king cannot move. The only thing that can happen is that this rook can go down, sacrifice itself. Now the black rook will capture the white rook, and obviously it will be mated. That's how we do it. Let's solve this. Okay, solved. Let's go to the next puzzle. Okay, what is happening here? The king, white king has moved from d2 to c1, and now what has happened? It has enabled a way for this white rook to attack our rook. We can see we have a rook at e8 also. Now if we go down and give a check to this white king, the black king has only two ways to come up, this one and this one, means it can come to c2 or at d2. Now following that move, we have already blocked these last row, which is the first row, and then we will do what we will use our another rook and come at this position where the previous rook is also standing there. We will come to e2. Why we will come to e2? Because the first row is already blocked by our rook. For instance, consider these all calculations you have to do in the head. Firstly, what we are saying, that we will put our rook to e1 and will give a check to the white king. What are the moves for white king? White king can move up these two positions, means it can come to c2 or it can come to d2. Either case, we in the second move we are putting our rook from e8 to e2. Why? Because there will be our black rook at e1 already guarding the first row. From e2 we are also guarding the second row, and then white king cannot capture our rook because both the rooks are looking at each other and guarding themselves. White king do not have any space to come up because it is also being guarded by these two pawns. Hence the white king would be mated. Let's see. Check. Okay, king moves up, check, and that is a mate. This is a double rook theme, which is mate in 2. This theme is also called rook on 7th, and you can also call it two rooks checkmate. So white is to move here. Black has just captured a knight on d7. What can we do? We look at the black king, which is in the corner and has no actual spaces to move because it is blocked by these two pawns. The only position for the king to move is at g8, and simply we can put our king here and can give a check. Now what are the options for the black king? Cannot move because this position is also under threat from the queen. Now there are two options. You will first block by this rook or by the queen. Either cases we are taking each of this one by one, and finally the black king will be mated. These are calculations you have to do in the head, and when it's done you will see a clear force checkmate, and this is how we do it. Okay, this is the new puzzle we got here, black to move. Now when we see that to the white king. When we look at the white king has two places here, because this g2 position is blocked by its own pawn. Now we also see that this position is also blocked, or is being guarded by our bishop at d4. Now only place in case of a check can king move is h2, correct? In this case, if we manage to give a check to the king and can block this h2 position, white king will be mated. Clear enough? How can we give a check? And when we look at the check options, the only option we get here is to capture this free pawn at h4 and can give a check, which will also block this position at h2. We can see g1 is already blocked by our bishop, and so white king will be mated. That would be a mate in 1. Okay, so now we see that the white in this puzzle, what has done, he has just captured our rook at h8. That can be called as a rook sacrifice, but white missed that both the bishop and the queen is looking at the king, and he has to defend this pawn. The black missed it, white missed it, sorry. So black is going to take this opportunity to mate white and black, mate in 1. Can you see it? You are not supposed to take this pawn by bishop, no, because then the king would move. You have to take this with this queen, because there are two positions for the king to move and both of them will be blocked by the queen, hence giving it a mate in 1. There you go. And this is popularly known as scholar's mate. Now in this position, there's black to move, and we can see there are 3 pieces for the white. There are 2 rooks and a queen, while the black is a queen down. And in this position, white decided to move his queen to b3. Yes, the white's queen moved to b3, and now the black king is laughing in the corner. Why? I'll tell you in a minute. Because there's a backrank issue developing up. How? The rook at f file is just blocking all the f file. The king cannot move out. He has to be in this square zone. And now we can also see that our rook at e8 is also looking at the rook at e1 and threatening to give a check. And rather, it's not only a check, it would be a mate, because it will be blocking the only position king has to move. King cannot come up, king cannot move to his right, and that would be a mate. With the queen up, white blunders and the game is over. Alright, let's move to the next one. White just captured a pawn and a4. That's the same again, backrank issue has developed. The king cannot move. White mostly can go to e1 and can just delay the mate by 1 move. Let's hit it. Okay, so this rook comes from c7. That won't do anything because we'll simply capture the rook. Again, the rook comes from e3 to e1. That is also not doing anything because it is just delaying the mate, and this is mate in 2 or mate in 3. This theme is called backrank or rooks on 7th. Mate in 3 is also the theme. Let's move to the next one. Alright, here the white to move. We can see these 3 positions are blocked by our king. The only thing that is required is to give a check and to block this position. How can we block it? We have to see white is to move. How can we give a check here? We can simply push our pawn here and can give a check. And then king has to move. King cannot come up, right? King has only one place because king cannot capture our pawn because it is being guarded by our king. Now, at last, the king has only one position to move, which would be h8. We can see that the black has 3 pieces here. It has a bishop, it has a rook, it has a queen, but still it led to a mate. somehow blunders and makes itself lose, because after this check the king will move to the only position it got at h8, and then the white rook will capture this bishop, free hanging bishop at f8, giving a check to the king, and then there would be no escape for the black king and it would fall. It's a check, black king moves, gives take, and the black king falls here. Alright, this is mate in 2, the theme is pinned. Let's move to the next one. Here, black to move, white king just moved from f2 to e1. I don't know why in this situation, because if we calculate, there are 3 pieces for the black and 4 pieces for the white. White is supposed to win this situation easily, but white chose to go with the king. And what has happened here, that the white rook was already looking at the second column, and king cannot come up now. All we need to do is to give a check down and block this first column, and that would be a mate. And how can we do that? We have to check all the checks here the possible. We can come here, but then it will be simply the king would capture it, so that is not the way. We can see our rook at g4 can easily go to g1, give a check at the first file. King cannot move these 2 positions because that would be blocked by the rook at g1. King cannot come up because it is blocked by the rook at b2, and hence that would be a mate. This is mate. Alright, see you next day. Goodbye, take care.